Previously, I talked about the 5 pillars that I think are really important for navigating the changes that we go through during perimenopause. And in no particular order, I started with exercise. Now I want to talk about diet. Hi, I'm Andy, and this is my Perimeno diaries, keeping Black women in the perimenopause conversation, letting younger women know what's potentially coming down the line, and just looking out for those vitality hacks and solutions. Now more than ever, what we eat, what we consume, in fact, is so important in terms of shaping our experience of the perimenopause. I got the memo loud and clear that the hormones that are affected by perimenopause don't just cause our periods to become irregular then stop. Estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone affect so many functions within the body, and particularly within our organs, the brain, but also the gut. And so it makes sense that we have to be much more mindful during this time of what we're eating. I've definitely found that my palate has changed, but also the way that my gut responds to what I eat. Where I could eat anything at any time, now I really have to think about what I'm consuming and make changes to what I'm eating that will support me during this time. One of the biggest adjustments I've had to make is how much sugar is in my diet. Before, I didn't really have a sweet tooth. Yeah, I'd have the odd bit of chocolate here and there, but I just wasn't really that bothered about it. My go-to was savory stuff. I love burgers, love pizza, that type of stuff. If I was going to give myself a treat, that's what it would be. But with the onset of the perimenopause, I've definitely acquired a sweet tooth. However, refined carbs can be responsible for inflammation around the body, and because estrogen acted as an inflammation protector with declining levels, it means that we're more prone to inflammation around the body. In fact, anything heavily processed is going to be really challenging for the body to digest. So that means processed meats, processed food, pre-cooked stuff that has ingredients in it that you wouldn't necessarily use if you were cooking from scratch at home. And unfortunately, alcohol is one of those things that does us no favors during this time. When we drink alcohol, we're just dumping a whole load of refined sugar into our body with no fiber to slow down the metabolism of it. And as perimenopause can mean we have less insulin resistance, chucking alcohol into the mix just causes a world of problems. But this isn't about making people wrong. Everybody is where they are on their journey in terms of what they eat. But any little adjustment we can make to improve our diet and therefore improve our gut health and therefore our perimenopause changes and indicators will help to make the experience that much easier. Look, if you love a cake or a donut, I'm not going to be the one to tell you to have an apple instead, but perhaps if we can switch out some things for healthier alternatives 1 time out of 5, that in itself is a difference. With everything that's going on, having to be a goody two-shoes in terms of what we eat can be a lot. So listen, whatever you choose to do, just know I hear you, I see you, and we are in this together.